Kamala copies another Trump campaign policy proposal. So the copycat chameleon, Kamala Harris, is back at it again, stealing Trump's policies. She don't have any organic, fresh ideas of her own, so she has to steal them from Trump. And the crazy thing is, they are the ones. They are the ones that been in office for 3.5 years and have to go back and change their policies to mirror Trump policies to fix what they destroyed. That's the crazy thing about it. So we're going to talk a little bit about it. But before we get started, go ahead and hit that like button. Share this out so we can get this information out there. Subscribe if you're not already a subscriber. And hit that alarm bell so you know when I'm putting out new stuff. Also, check out my link tree in the description. It has a link to my Patreon. That's where I talk about things that I can't talk about here. Also, follow me on X. I post tons of news throughout the day there as well. All right, so let's talk about this news. Now, this comes from PJ Media's Matt Margolis, but he reports that, remember when Republicans were thrilled that Democrats rallied behind Kamala Harris because she is such a bad campaigner? Well, clearly she still is. Her first major policy revelation, of course, was announcing that if elected, she would, quote, eliminate taxes on tips and services and hospitality workers, which Donald Trump had proposed months earlier. You know, she jacked his whole swag. It turns out that Kamala wasn't done plagiarizing Trump's platform. Ahead of a speech in North Carolina, the Harris-Walz campaign unveiled a package of over a dozen economic policies designed to, quote, lower costs for American families, which included her controversial Soviet-style price controls. And that's exactly what it is. Soviet Russia had price controls, and which actually destroyed their economy even worse. I mean, she's letting the cat out the bag. I told you these people were socialist communists. But a $25 subsidy for first-time home buyers. Now, that's not going to help because housing costs are still super high. So even if you don't have to do the down payment, you still won't be able to afford your monthly payments. But that's a whole nother thing. I could do a whole nother video on that. And a child tax credit offering $6,000 per child during a baby's first year. Does that last one sound a bit familiar to you? It should, because earlier this month, Trump's running mate, Senator J.D. Vance, said that he wanted to increase the child tax credit. Quote, so tell me specifically what you want to do to expand the child care tax credit, because it's like $2,000 per kid right now, CBS Margaret Brennan asked him earlier this week. He said, quote, well, I think one of the things you can do is make it bigger per child, he replied. I think we'd love to see it at a higher dollar value. Do you have a number in mind, Brennan asked? Quote, again, President Trump and I have proposed that. I mean, look, I'd love to see a child tax credit that's $5,000 per child, but you, of course, have to work with Congress to see how possible and viable that is. Vance also discussed his effort to address surprise medical bills for parents, particularly when they unknowingly use out-of-network providers. He emphasized his support for pro-family policies and highlighted his sponsorship of legislation to stop this practice. Vance also called out Harris for disagreeing with the idea of increasing the child tax credit. Quote, I've got to push back against something a little bit, Margaret, because when these comments were where I said parents should pay lower taxes via the child tax credit came out, the Harris administration immediately jumped and said, we disagree with this. The Harris campaign said, we disagree with this, he pointed out. So do they want the elimination of the child tax credit, or were they just being careless in responding to remarks that I made 3 years ago? So now they flip-flop, another Kamala Harris flip-flop. Goes on to say they should clarify it, maybe in an interview with you, Vance suggested. But of course, Kamala refuses to do interviews with anybody. She still haven't done an interview. But sure enough, Harris's response was to come up with her own child tax credit increase proposal as part of her broader economic plan without the usual interviews or press conferences. her efforts to unveil a policy agenda haven't exactly gone well so far. She's already been called out for plagiarizing Trump's no tax on tips plan, and the Washington Post literally trashed her Soviet-style price controls plan, which is very, very surprising. The leftist Washington Post, Jeff Bezos' Washington Post. I don't doubt the liberal media will gush about the child tax credit proposal. It may not be the same thing J.D. Vance proposed, but does anyone really believe this would have been part of her agenda had it not been for Vance? Of course not. I mean, she has no good policy ideas herself, so all she can do is plagiarize and steal and copycat and steal Trump's ideas, which would actually help the economy. And she's talking about grabbing more government power, more government control with this price controls thing, which again is communism, man. And I told you she is the most leftist senator we ever had, and now she's going for president and want to and outright admit it. She said the quiet part out loud that she want to control these prices, which is crazy. And all she continue, but what she'll continue to do is jack Trump's swag, because all of their policy ideas are terrible, and if they really tell you what they want to do, people will wake up and catch on to the scam. But y'all let me know what y'all think about this. Leave your comments down below. Like, share, and subscribe, and check out jjthepsychotherapist.com for the latest in news. Until next time, peace.